Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new horror film, The Substance. What is the plot of this film? Well, it tells the story of an actress whose star is beginning to fade. She's starting to get a little bit older. She finds out about this drug on the black market, The Substance, and it's able to de-age her. It replaces her skin cells, blah, blah, blah. Well, it works. With a price. I mean, this is a horror film. So this movie is starring Demi Moore, and it's directed by Coralie Farja. I'm very sorry if I didn't get that correct. My French is not the best. But I first became aware of Coralie in 2017. She directed the Shudder film, or at least it's on Shudder here in the States, Revenge, which is an absolutely brutal revenge film. So what I'm trying to say is that this director knows their way around horror and gore usage. So needless to say, I'm looking forward to seeing this film. I found out about it last year, and I have been stalking this movie, waiting for it to come out. I was able to find an early screening here in the city, so I need to get to work first, and then I'm off to check out The Substance. Welcome back. Just getting home from checking out The Substance. And guys, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought this film was pretty dang good, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. So let's get this started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. First off, if you are not a fan of body horror, you are not going to enjoy this movie. Let's just put it that way. Now, the movie isn't like non-stop body horror. There is a very good story, a really good script here. But yes, there are some absolute grotesque moments of gore, blood, and guts in this film. Some are pretty surprising. Others take their time to just make you feel horribly uncomfortable the entire time. This movie also has a fairly long runtime for a horror film. It clocks in at about 2 hours and 20 minutes, which I feel like the film was just a little too long. There was some areas, maybe a shot was held a little too long, and some other stuff that we just really didn't need thrown into the film. Not that it slows the movie down, it's just things that could have been taken out of the movie and we wouldn't have noticed it too much, and it would have slimmed the film down to a nice, maybe 2 hours long. And I think that might have given it a little bit more of a general appeal, because I think when some people look at the runtime of this film and they see body horror attached to it, they're going to say like, okay, I don't want to sit in a movie for 2.5 hours long and watch people turn into big old Cronenbergs, which, you know, maybe happens. But anyways, let's move into the positives, shall we? The first thing I want to talk about is the acting in this movie, because Demi Moore was outstanding. She has a lot of stuff that her character is going through this entire film. And also, I want to give a hats out to Dennis Quaid. I didn't bring up Dennis Quaid in the intro of this. I didn't notice that he was in the film at first, but he actually does have a fairly good sized role, and he plays like a TV producer, and he is just every single horrible, nasty thing you've ever heard about a TV producer thrown into one guy, and Dennis Quaid has an absolute blast with this film. He really put out the effort on his character. Not that everyone else didn't. I mean, all of the actors in this film did an extremely good job, especially with the crazy-ass subject matter of this film. I also like the fact that things kind of stay kind of ambiguous. You just have to accept that. Like I said, she gets basically the substance from a drug dealer, but we never really learn a whole lot about what's going on behind the scenes with the substance, and I like that. It's just something that exists that she gets her hands on, and shit happens. and I like that about this film. It doesn't dive in too deep and over-explain things that we do not need over-explaining. The movie does a very good job. I did say that it's got a long runtime, but it does have a very good pacing. This film isn't a slow burn, in my opinion. There is a lot going on in this movie, but when you have two people who are basically the main characters, who are both having like a different story being told simultaneously, I can't say the word, but I'm not gonna cut it. Well, anyways, when you have two stories going on at the same time like that, yeah, it's gonna run down, it's gonna get the runtime up a little bit, because you're gonna have to flesh out both of the characters, give them both of a story, a hero's journey, all that good stuff, and the film does a very good job. And I also, going into this movie, I really thought that I was going to dislike Demi Moore's character, because only thing you know about her going into it is that she's like this stuck-up actress who's concerned only about her looks, and she's getting older, and TV producers don't want her in shows anymore and stuff like that, and so she does something drastic to keep herself young. So you think that she's going to be an unlikable, very superficial type of character, but actually you start to she gets very endearing as the film progresses, and you start to feel a little bit of pity for her. In fact, you also start to feel bad for the younger version of herself also. All in all, I feel like this was a very solid, well-made horror film. Oh, I forgot to bring up the cinematography. Now, even though I did say that there's moments where you could tell the camera does linger on things, I still really enjoyed the cinematography in this movie. It is kind of all sorts of different types of things going on. There's some really great long shots. There's a hallway that's used throughout the entire film that I just absolutely love the way they shot this hallway. It just makes this thing look like it's 4 miles long. Tricks like that are used throughout the entire film with the cinematography, and I absolutely liked it. When it's needed, there's great close-ups. When it's not needed, we don't see things like that. All in all, very good. The practical special effects in this film are mind-boggling. They are so well done. And so is the makeup in this film. I really enjoyed it. Now, there are some moments that, yes, they probably use a little CGI to touch up everything. But that's okay. I don't mind a horror film using a little CGI to touch things up, to make things look good. But don't rely on it completely, because it kind of takes you out of the movie with something like a horror film that needs that solidity. Is that a word? I'm going to go with it that it's a word. Solidity. All in all, guys, very solid, great horror film. If you're a fan of the genre of body horror, there are other elements in this. There's just good old-fashioned dark humor, and of course, there's drama. Lots and lots of drama. This is a fun film, guys, if you're into the body horror genre. All in all, I would say this is a good, get out there, check this film out in theaters. Again, if this is your thing. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.